New day, everyone. So I just thought I would bring you all here and have a little bit of a chat about terminology, or as one of my beautiful friends says, word salad. I'm really seeing a lot of the damage that some of this word salad's causing, and also the separation that it's causing as well. I don't really truthfully believe anything in life is learnt until we've personally experienced it, fully personally experienced it. And I hear, and I work with a lot of the coaches to actually counsel as well and things like that. So I hear a lot of coaches out there, a lot of mentors, counselors, saying, using the terminology, let it go. Now, let it go is a big one to just throw out there, especially for me. I work with a lot of clients that have been through trauma and abuse. So let it go can be a really harsh word in that if it's out of context. Unfortunately, us humans, we tend to grasp at something and then we just run with it without any kind of consideration of the impact of what that may cause. And I just wanted to come on and just clear up a little bit of that. Because we've got a few statements that I'm seeing thrown out in the spiritual industry. I call it a spiritual industry because I like not to separate from the fact that we are still in an industrial culture. And a lot of coaches, mentors, counselors, yoga teachers, breathwork facilitators are all operating businesses no different to anyone else's. So just to be really clear and keep our human out there, that we're all human, we're still operating under these same precepts, myself included. Some of my work is paid work. Some of my work I do as a honouring for the wisdom that comes through me, and that is done of no charge. And that's because that isn't mine to charge for. So so if we can be really, really clear about that we're not separate. We're all one, even though it gets glorified as something different. It's not. We're all here still marketing ourselves, still working for, chasing. If anything, I see some of the chaos that some of the coaches have to go through, and the marketing and the constantly on the computer and the stress and looking for holidays and all those things, despite what gets sold on Instagram and Facebook. It's a hard gig. It's not easy. It's no different to working in a coffee shop and selling coffee to the world. We're still offering a service that people are needing, and help people to grow. So all of it's beautiful, no matter what it is that people do to make money, how they get by. We're all doing the same thing. We're just trying to work in this world. The difference is, for me, for my business, and for many others as well, is I've taken the way I live, I take what I love, and I turn it into a ability to be able to be sustainable in my life. So so it's a beautiful gift that I get to do, and I know some people don't always get that opportunity, so I do feel privileged every single day that I have that opportunity to do that, and then I get to help as many people as I do as well. So terminology is going back to letting it go. So let it go is one terminology. Another one that I hear about is oneness, and what that all looks like. So again, being misused in lots of different ways. The other thing is self-love. So that's another one that's being used and thrown out there too. And what does that look like? Detachment's another one that gets thrown out there a lot too, is, detaching from things, and how does that all look? What else do we get? Awakening. Awakening's an interesting one too. We've got all this beautiful word salad that gets thrown around, as my dear friend calls it. But what do they all mean? So I just thought, as I was having my coffee this morning, that I would hop on and just have a little chat with you. I'm recording it so I can update, because my live doesn't quite work. I haven't got very good reception where I am. I've got the beautiful trees around me, and they stop all of the Wi-Fi coming through, which is nice. I appreciate it a lot. So let's talk about letting go first. Letting go is an interesting one. If we have suffered through any type of trauma and abuse, and I'm going to say there's not been anyone that I've met yet that hasn't, gone through some sort of trauma, even if it was at birth or if it was, in the first few years of their life. There's lots of, everyone's gone through something. So we can't take back any of those memories. All those memories are all going to be there. And this is something I've personally journeyed through myself, but also professionally helped lots of people with. So we will never ever forget those memories. Those memories are always going to be there in their imagery. What we will become is more emotionally detached. Now, emotionally detached is what we call, when letting go is to detach from the emotions that are at that time and realize that now that memory does not exist in this current moment. That it does not exist. And how do we bring ourselves into this current moment? And the letting go is going, okay, that is not real. It is not existing currently. It doesn't mean it doesn't lay there dormant, and there's going to be things that are going to bring it up. There's going to be things that are going to trigger it off, and up it comes again. So what we need to do is accept that it was our past, that stuff that we journey through in our life was our past. If we decided we had a cut and we went back and every time that cut hurt a little bit, we reopened it, it would never heal. So sometimes that pain from the past can hurt a little and it's going to come up. But each time we need to address it and give it attention. We need to put a new cover on it. We need to, be able to create that balm that's required for it to slowly heal and for that scar not to, be causing so much ugliness for us. If we can look at it and go, okay, that's something that, happened and existed and actually has shaped me to be who I am, and that is now healed, then we move into this space. It's not an easy process. It's not just the simple letting go. The letting go is only of the attachment of the emotion that was attached to that memory. So we can always replace that emotion that was attached with that memory with something different. So if every time that we felt it, we decided to put a balm over the top of it of love and compassion for that journey, then we start to give it the healing that's required to be able to move forward without the pain. And each time we do that, each time we place that balm on there, we heal. However, what I'm finding is this letting go word that's being thrown out there now is letting go and just move on with something really cushy and amazing. So we take the love that the messaging system comes through and says, bring love to these wounds. But what we do is we start to direct the love into something else that brings us joy. And we just gloss over the top of that. We don't actually ever put the balm onto the wound. We just keep moving on and hoping that the wound's going to be okay. So if I take this wound that, is on my hand and I decide that I'm going to crawl through the mud that's fun and I'm going to clamber over the rocks that is enjoyable and brings me joy, however, never attend to the wound itself, the wound will surely fester. And it needs our attention to heal. It needs us to look at it and apply that loving kindness and apply that compassion to the wound itself. Not just bring love and compassion into our life and decide that we're going to build love and compassion in all areas of our life and just hope that this wound heals itself. It needs to be looked at. It needs our attention. If we don't give it our attention, it doesn't heal. So where attention goes, energy flows. So the type of attention that we give, when we look at it, we go, okay, we're going to invoke healing here into this area. We're not looking at it to get right back in there again and face the rawness of it. We're looking at it so we can actually observe it. Oh, there's pain there. We don't have to go into the story of it. We don't have to go back into the whole how we got to the pain or analyze it or anything. It's funny because in life, people go and get a massive cut they need stitches for. They just take it to a doctor and they don't know what the doctor puts into it or the stitches or the medication or the things. But yet, for some reason, when we go back into our own healing, We have to go back in, and we need to start to be that doctor, and we need to look at all of those parts and investigate them all and make sure that they're all healed properly, and we need to know what's going in there, and we need to be in control of the whole situation. Whereas actually that's not true. A greatest doctor is spirit, is source. If we just give the attention to the area and we say, we see you, it will pass away. It'll surely pass away. And the longer we sit with it, just go, okay, I observe you. I see you. I'm not going to judge you, good, bad, or indifferent. I just see you. Then we start to heal. Then we start to witness how those changes happen. And also because we've just observed, we haven't reacted. We haven't formed a stronger pattern in our mind that says every time we feel that pain, we've got to react. We start to slowly train our mind that it doesn't have to react anymore, that the immediate pain is gone, that it no longer exists here, and that we see it and we appreciate it for everything that it's done and what it's gone through and all those things, but it's no longer needed in this moment. So yeah, letting go is not just the moving on. I see way too many people just glossing over creating all this love and light in their life, and this beautiful, it's not human. We came here for these experiences. These experiences are gifts for us. Even if they're chaos, even if they're horrible and they feel painful and they hurt, they're all here to nourish us in our future. And none of them are by a mistake. And it's accepting that, okay, they existed. And letting go of the attachment to the shame, to the guilt, to the feelings of sadness, the feelings of anger. And letting go of all of those feelings that are attached to it. And instead just giving love and compassion and kindness in this moment from this person to that person. Knowing that each time we've gone through an experience in our life, we go through it to the greatest depths we possibly can, and then we shed. Naturally we shed. Every 7 years we have a whole new skeleton. New skeletal structure that's happening over the top of ours. It's like a tree. Ring by ring we grow. And this is the thing that's already happening. We tend to, as humans, believe that we have to control this process. We don't need to control it. Source has created it for us. It's already doing its thing. We need to surrender. There's another word. Surrender. What does surrender look like? A surrender laying down to die. A surrender going, oh, well, I give up and I don't have any, power and that's it. Well, yeah, some of that's true. But surrender is trust as well. And faith. And belief that there's something greater than us. And surrender is seeing that we're only a little dot in the way of the world. We're actually not the grandiose human that we've solidified into our existence and said, this is who we are. We're actually every neighbour that we come across. We're every human that walks beside us on the street. We are every criminal that sits in the jail cell. There is no difference. So all of this is us. We're all of those things, which makes us very beautifully insignificant in the scheme of the world. So yeah, surrender is knowing that, observing that. And all these aspects is observing without judgment, without stories, and without expectations. And so just to clear up, I'm going to come on and I'll unpack some more of those words as we go, because there's a lot that people I know are using these words and they have got different meanings to what these words are, different thoughts about what these words are based on the experiences they've gone through. So just to look to the authenticity of what that actually means in existence, in the actual personal experiences that we travel through, and for myself personally have traveled through. The letting go that we hear in the greater teachers, in the gurus, in the greater masters before us, the teachings that they teach of the word let go or surrender is to allow for Source to do the healing and for us simply to observe. Witness the miracle. Witness what can happen. And when we surrender the control. We surrender the control that we hold over this experience. And our greatest letting go is letting go of the attachment that we hold to the emotions that we solidify onto this memory, and understanding that this memory no longer exists. That all it requires is for us to observe it and to give it the love and compassion that's required for it to heal. And to continue on and understand with faith and trust that Source is already doing the healing that's required. That none of this was by mistake. There is a much greater magic in play than what we could ever imagine. And having full trust in that. So that's the letting go. It's not a have to go and be happy all the time. It's not a having to go be cheerful all the time. Let's get real and human with ourselves. That's creating a lot of shame and a lot of guilt in a lot of people. But it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that you've just got to get on with it. It doesn't mean that because you know, and I say intellectually know, you know how to use positive affirmations, and you know how to meditate, and you know how to do all of the mindfulness techniques, and you know how to listen to guided meditations and all those kinds of things. The amount of guilt and shame that's coming up in so many people currently, and I myself have journeyed through this too. I'm not free of it. None of us are free of this stuff. The amount of shame and guilt that is coming up around this is huge, because people who have had an overabundance of information put into their hands. You know, we have a massive amount of breathwork classes, a massive amount of yoga classes. We have all of these teachers and mentors and coaches sharing all their information and saying, hey, we've got this and we've got that, and this is how you do it, and this is how you do it. We go to these seminars, we go to, you know, Joe Dispenza and Dr. Espin, and you know, we go to all these different things and we learn all this information. We academically learn it the same way we were in school. We were trained to go through and to regurgitate this information. So we take it all in, take it all in, take it all in. However, we haven't lived that experience necessarily yet. And it hasn't necessarily sunk into our cells yet. So what happens is our brain is in conflict with our heart. Our heart remembers this stuff and the emotions are all still attached to it. And part of our greatest job as a human is to come into this body, into this meat suit or into this Earth Day suit, and recognize that these sensations are being stored away in our body, stored away in the cells of our body, and actually go in and look at them and observe them. We are a temple. Our whole body is a temple. And what flows through us is a source energy that's attached to every single person. And that source energy flows at the rate in which it can flow. What we do as humans is we have all this debris locked up, which is our element of control, our solidification of our human and who we are, and our sense of self and all of those kinds of things. That's all the debris that locks up and blocks up this river and stops the source energy from flowing through. So that source energy is already ready to heal. It's already there. We're in our own way. We're stepping into our own way. We're putting our own things in play, and we're trying to ignore the fact that something greater than us is doing the work. And that is where we really cause ourselves the greatest damage. If we can step outside of that and allow for us to just look and observe, that's all we've got to do. Where attention goes, energy flows. So when we look at something, we see that as where we want to be setting our energy. So when source flows through, that's where its energy goes to. And then the healing begins. We step back, we surrender. Okay, we see you. That's all it is. I just see you. And for anyone who has done Vipassana, myself, I do lots of Vipassana, this is the whole practice. Just look and observe. Witness the nature. And the nature of all things is what arrives will pass away. What arrives will pass away. That's the nature. It's completely impermanent. It's not staying the same. It's not going to be like this forever. The biggest struggle we have, and I always use this saying all the time, the biggest struggle in life is to see that life is not a struggle. The biggest struggle we have is that we have solidified our whole being based on all these experiences. These have become us. And then instead of being a human being and being a collective, we have had to find our role in that and define self and solidify self as much as we possibly can. And that solidification process is what we struggle with most. Because who are we without that solidification process? That can create fear. But if we can understand that when we let go of each part of ourself like that, we actually, it's funny because I have so many people that go to yoga all the time, but yet death is something they fear the most. And Shavasana is a death. Every time we lay down, it's a death. So the surrender to the moment and observing it and witnessing it is a death. It's allowing it just to die and to be reborn and die and reborn and die and reborn. And this is the way of nature. This is how we move with nature, as we allow what flows through us to do its work. And it's the same thing that flows through nature. It flows through all of us. It's a collective energy. And we're all in it together. So yeah, so when it comes to that terminology of let go, really feel into what that is before we use that word. If we can really truthfully feel into what that is and share that message. So people can all be on that understanding, the true understanding of what that word means. And work towards that. But the first point is to observe it as it is. Let go of judgment, let go of stories, and let go of expectations around everything that you are looking at. No, and this is the most important thing. So yeah, I hope that this is just something that you can ponder on and think about. If you've got any more questions, please reach out, ask me. I am really open to conversation. So if you get on and you have any questions for me, please just shoot them through. I'm open for conversation. I have a workshop coming up on June 1st, is the Consent to Change workshop, happening here on the Sunshine Coast, where we get to unpack all of exactly what it looks like to give cellular consent to change instead of staying in that solidified human all the time. So if you're interested in that, please reach out, have a little look at what we do. I'm very big on just making sure that we understand we're all human at the end of the day. We all showed up here for a human experience, and that we have this beautiful energy that flows through us all, guiding us all the time if we choose to show up for it. So I'm happy to be in the position to be able to facilitate a workshop that is accepting of everybody's individual journeys, and actually shows us how to navigate this human that we're in, because there's so much that tells us how to get out of our head, how to travel through the ethers, and how to connect with source and all of those kinds of things, except for we can connect with source until the cows come home. But if our body is blocked up with all of this debris, all this trauma, all of this chaos, source will never reach us. We'll never truthfully hear the wisdom that flows through us. And so clearing up the debris of this human is what we need to do, so we can all come back into this together. We're all in this together, and I love that. I love this experience, and I love sharing it with people. Take care, have a beautiful day, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. I'm going to unpack some more of these words, because there's lots being thrown around there at the moment. Take care. Bye.